There's a theme that we're watching play out among many pro-Trump media figures and even just everyday MAGA voters. And it essentially goes something like this. Wait, not me. That's kind of it's cheering on. Yes, hurt that person, fire that person, defund that person, shoot. And then, no, wait, don't hurt me. Don't fire me. Don't defund me. And that played out on air with Jesse Waters. I talked about that on the main channel. Well, now you have a CNN host pointing to the fact that, yes, Jesse Waters came out and said, wait, I don't want Trump negatively impacting my friends because I'm special, but the other people, sure, but not my friends. And a CNN host said, well, a lot of what you're now asking Trump to do is the opposite of what you've been rooting him on doing. So if you're saying now don't be so callous, don't be so belligerent in your attacks against people, well, you're the one who's been cheering on such behavior. And so I'll show this good segment from CNN's Abby Phillip, and then we will discuss. Welcome, everybody, to the second channel, Beasley After Hours. I appreciate that you're here. Make sure to click the subscribe button for our extra segments here.
Utter chaos with zero oversight and very little care. And we're talking about people's lives here. Tonight alone, thousands of IRS employees have been fired, and sources are describing emotional scenes playing out in the workplaces across the country. Employees are crying, managers are crying, and many are angry, kicking chairs and throwing books over how they are being treated. All of this during the busiest time of the year for the agency. Now, at the Defense Department, we're hearing 50,000 people are at risk of being fired next. 50,000. But listen to one champion of DOGE who suddenly changes his tune when the cuts hit home.
He just found out he's probably going to get laid off. He's going to get DOGed. And this guy's not a DEI consultant. This guy's not a climate consultant. This guy is a veteran. We just need to be a little bit less callous with the way, Harold, we talk about doging people. Okay, I want that to sink in.
You're arguing with yourself.
No, I am not guilty of that. I finally found one person I knew that got doged, and it hit me in the heart.
Wow.
So again, as this is my second channel, when I refer to the main channel, it's what you can find in the description, just the Luke Beasley titled channel. And there we talked about that original segment where it's pretty humiliating that he couldn't have had empathy until someone that he knew personally experienced the doging as he described it. But now Abby Phillip brings the receipts and says, well, yeah, I guess we agree we shouldn't be as callous, but you're the one who's been rooting that on. Take a look.
Well, that same guy lecturing on being less callous has been the king of callousness for weeks.
Thousands of bureaucrats woke up today to a big "you're fired." DOGE is dishing out spankings like daddy daycare. It's like going to your grandparents' house, throwing out their VCR and their stacks of tapes, just downloading Netflix for them. Here, Grandpa, you just hit this button here and press select. Even the holiday weekend couldn't slow DOGE down. There was a huge exodus over at the National Archives. Persnickety librarians were getting doged silly. The Dewey Decimal System's next. DOGE is a blessing from the heavens above.
DOGE for thee, but not for me, Julie. I mean, it's not just him. It's pretty widespread at this point.
Did the leopard eat Jesse Waters' face? I'm, shocked. By the way, he's kind of in a precarious time slot there over at Fox, so his previous two predecessors got fired, so I wouldn't be celebrating people getting fired if I were him, because it's probably going to come for him next. But look, this is always the case for people who celebrated Donald Trump until it hit home, right?
Please. I'm hitting myself in the face with the microphone. Please be able, we learned about this at a very young age, be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not that difficult, actually. If you really try, it's not that difficult to imagine that someone else might not be you. Really, Jesse, get your head around this. Someone else might not just be you or the people that you know. And maybe they, like you and like your friends, have feelings. Maybe they and, I should say they, like you and your friends, care about their jobs, care about the work they do, and aren't expendable. But for him, it took his friend. It took a veteran friend worker at DOD at the Pentagon experiencing the carelessness of this administration for him to request that from Trump. And then how do you go weeks going, yeah, doge him hard, doge him however you want, to that response without any mea culpa? That's also the really upsetting part, because it was mentioned there, but we are seeing more and more people come out and go, hey, I don't know if they should go so crazy. Maybe they should, I don't know, assess before making these big decisions. Maybe they should seek out more information about these agencies before getting rid of them, or seek out more information about employees before firing them. And that's a very fair response to go, I don't know why they're acting like this is not a matter of global consequence. Randomly pushing out entire agencies, literally entire agencies. And doing so in the matter of weeks before you've had time, you could not possibly physically have the time to assess if these different jobs are necessary, or if the funds are necessary. Or we're going to try to freeze all federal funds. That didn't work. That should be criticized. And so that response is fair. But what's not fair is that none of those same people go, hey, I'm sorry. I was one of the people rooting that on. I was one of the people who acted like taking a chainsaw, as Elon Musk recently gave us the imagery of, to the bureaucracy, no matter really how aggressively you do it, is epic. And then Jesse literally doing one story after another in recent weeks after we've seen some of the consequences of those actions. And Jesse's been doing segments rooting in on, yeah, doge him, we'd love it. And so at least he, now that he's flipping around asking for less callousness, should admit that you can't really be credited for now taking a more reasonable position. He still has absurd positions, but on this one, slightly more reasonable. You can't be given credit for that if you didn't admit that you made a mistake, that you are now switching your position, and that you are a part of what has been out there justifying the actions of the Trump administration. We see you, we know what you've been doing, and it's been getting people hurt. And it's been getting us hurt, by the way. We're talking a lot about a couple things. Whenever funds are getting cut off in agencies, there's the impact to people. But when we talk about people being fired within the federal government, and we've been doing stories about Trump voters who got fired and then have some regret or whatever, you, of course, sympathize with the person who lost their job. But then also you have to think, obviously, if a position was completely unnecessary, it would make sense for someone no longer to work. But a lot of these positions are so necessary, like when DOGE accidentally fired and had to rehire one of the top guys overseeing our nuclear arsenal. And whenever we're firing people, it's not just that extreme, but so many other positions throughout the government, trying to completely delete, I think was the word that Elon Musk used, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, bring it to a screeching halt, the National Labor Relations Board. These institutions were doing something. And it's interesting that they're targeting first the ones who protect your everyday workers, your everyday consumers, less powerful people. They haven't started with the institutions that protect, I guess. They're not going after those that powerful people really want to see. Actually, National Labor Relations Board and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau would be the two you'd go after if you wanted to most help the oligarchs. And that's what he has started with. And so it's pretty obvious what's being done. And the fact that we're getting one little inch of a step from some people in MAGA media, I guess it's good, but they're going to have to go a lot further to get to full rationality. Make sure to go subscribe to the main channel, subscribe to this one if you appreciate the extra content, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.